Hello everyone, today I'll be teaching you how to make empanadas in simple steps. For the ingredients, 1 ounce is equal to 28.35 grams. The first ingredient we will be using is 10 ounces of flour, which is 280 grams. For our next ingredient, we want 4 ounces of butter, which is 130 grams. The next ingredient we will be using is 20 grams of salt, which is 1/2 spoon of salt. After that, we will be needing 1 spoon of baking powder, which is 40 grams. Add all those ingredients up in a bowl and start mixing. While you're mixing, you want to add 1/4 of a cup of orange juice while it's mixing. Here we have a photo of me obtaining the orange juice. Another liquid we want to add while mixing is 2/3 of a cup of water. You want to add 2 of those in the bowl while mixing. Here we have a picture of the mass while all the substances were mixing together. And here we have a picture when it's almost done. It's not completely finished and it's still a little bit sticky. At this point, I decided to remove the mass from the bowl I was mixing it in. I added a little bit of flour on the floor so it didn't get stuck on the floor. Continuously, I started adding flour into the mass since it was still sticking in my hands, as you can see in the video. I started adding flour on top of it and really mixing the flour with the mass so it started to dry a little bit. If you add too much flour, it can start to get dry and hard. That's not what you want. If that happens to you, you can add a little bit of water until you have that Play-Doh filled in the mass, which is easy to maneuver and get the shapes you want for cooking. At this step, I also recommend you that outside you have a frying pan with oil ready to fry your empanada. I took a little bit of the mass, formed it in a ball, and started panning it out, getting it nice and flat so we can have the shapes you want. Here, the flour on the floor started to run out and started to stick, but I still managed to make it nice and flat. After it's flat, I used a lid to acquire the shape circle that I want for my empanada. We're gonna fold this circle later in half, so half of the circle is gonna be our empanada. Keep that in mind when choosing the sizes you want. Later on, I decided to make these cheese empanadas and added a vertical cheese in the middle. I closed it up and with a fork, I made sure to close the borders. I sadly lost the footage of this. We put it in the frying pan with the oil and, like a pancake, started to cook it side by side. Some pictures. You don't necessarily need to make them out of cheese. Here I repeat the same process and decided to spice things up a little bit. Here you can see me again using the lid to acquire the shape of the empanada I wanted. Here I decided to make the inside of the empanada with some peach jam that we made from natural peaches that grow in our garden. We spread it out kind of like a crepe. Made sure that it was in almost all places. Get a good amount of it inside. Once that's done, we close the empanada up in half. Just like that. Once that's done, you again grab the fork and start sealing the sides. If it's too full of the jam, it will start to spread out, but it's not going to affect the final product. After using the fork, I again put it in the frying pan and did the same. A key factor throughout this entire process was stoichiometry, the study of quantities. If you were to add up all the substances that we used for this process, you have the basic chemical equation for 16 empanadas. Since we know that that specific amount of substances will produce 16 empanadas, we can later calculate how much quantities of certain substance we will need if we need more or even less empanadas, especially if we have more or less than a certain substance or material. Then we can calculate how much of the other material we need. This is just a small example on how we use stoichiometry in our daily lives to solve different equations, problems about quantities. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you can enjoy the delicious empanadas you made with your family. See you in the next one.